I'd just been dropped into the body of the useless, washout heir of the Northern Duke, just in time for my fiancée to publicly break off our engagement at the ceremony. Caden, she announced, her words echoing across the hall, the man I love is Asher. Now that he has returned, I cannot marry you. Our engagement is over. Asher, the story's polished golden boy, stepped forward and drew his sword, his voice a low, dangerous promise. If you resist, Caden, I will cut down every last member of your household. In the original book The Heir, Caden was a doormat for Alara, ready to give up everything to please her. The audience expected me to bow my head and let them walk away. Instead, I surprised them. My voice stayed oddly steady. Fine. You dare disgrace the house of the Northern Duke in public? Then let it end here, with you all. The ceremony was at its peak when he arrived. The instant Asher, the so-called chosen one, entered the ducal hall, Alara sprang to her feet. Caden, I do not love you, she declared, all righteous fury. My family was forced into this match. I would never have agreed otherwise. The man I love has always been Asher. Today, I, Alara Thorn, announce that our engagement is null. Asher drew his blade, eyes glittering. And if you stand in our way, Caden, I will one day slaughter your entire household. My head was still fogged from being dumped into this plot, but the story came back to me in flashes. The heir was a marginal character, weak and desperate, obsessed with the heroine. In the original, he stepped aside and even bankrolled their training and rise. And the payoff for my weakness? Once Asher reached the peak of his skill, he and the Thorn faction stormed the palace and butchered everyone inside. The hero and heroine rode off into their happily ever after. I remembered swearing at the author the first time I read it. Now I was living it, and there was no way I would let that outcome happen. I closed the distance and slapped Alara hard. You insolent hypocrite, I spat. Every advantage you claim came from my house. Now you want to discard us, and you humiliate my family in public, and you expect me to accept it. Alara pressed her palm to her stinging cheek, eyes wide with shock. Caden, you hit me? You said you loved me. Was any of that true? I am simply ending an engagement. What is your problem? Even Asher seemed taken aback. The scene was not unfolding the way the book had promised. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Has Alara lost her mind? The Duke's heir has everything: bloodline, talent, looks. Why would she end this? His house provided for her family, gave them whatever they wanted. Is this how she repays him? Publicly too, what nerve? Based on his usual behavior, he would have backed down, but something is different about him today. I fixed them with a hard stare, then asked, loud enough for the nearest nobles to hear, where are the ducal guards? Captain Kane of the guard dropped to one knee, voice steady. Your Grace, your orders? Execute them. A shocked silence, then Asher stepped in front of Alara. Caden, are you insane? You would kill Alara over this. Kill them? They had just dragged my family's name through the mud in front of everyone who mattered. If I let this slide now, they would be the ones orchestrating my family's destruction later. Letting them live was not an option. Caden, you swore you loved me. Alara cried, clutching her cheek, incredulous. Is this how you show it? Kane hesitated. Everyone knew what the original Caden had been willing to do for her, so they could not tell if I was bluffing. Alara lifted her chin and declared, with theatrical outrage, so you only wanted me as a trophy. True love is letting someone be happy, even if it is with someone else. I found my happiness, and you threaten us? That is not love. Let us go now, or we cannot even be friends. My face went cold. I turned to Kane, voice clipped. Are you deaf, Captain, or have my orders as heir lost all meaning? Kane snapped to it. He drew his blade and surged at Asher. The other guards closed ranks around me, shields forming a ring. Asher drew his sword in reply. The collision rocked the hall, a deafening boom that sent tables and chairs skittering, glass and crockery exploding as a shockwave rolled through the room. Guests were hurled off their feet, cries and the scent of spilled wine filling the air. Chaos reigned. Asher fought like a prodigy, but Kane, a high-ranked warrior, was pushed back several paces, face showing the strain. Credit where it was due, Asher could punch above his weight, but he was still young, still vulnerable. It was the perfect moment to break him. Two of my house's grandmasters, elite cultivators sworn to my family, materialized at my side in an instant. They bowed. Your Grace. Asher sneered. What kind of man hides behind his family's power? If you have honor, face me one-on-one. If I win, you let me leave with Alara. In the original tale, Caden was only a middling fighter, not someone to accept such a wager. I was not about to hand Asher an opening. Lord Thorn, Alara's father, saw the Grandmasters and hurried to place himself between his daughter and the fight, his voice full of contrition. Your Grace, forgive us. This is my fault. I will discipline Alara. The Thorns would be honored if she remained your bride. Then his tone shifted, pleading, but her heart belongs to Asher. You cannot force love. I did not dignify him with a look. Seize the entire Thorn party, I ordered, my voice flat. Anyone who resists is to be executed immediately. Yes, Your Grace. Ducal guards swarmed the Thorn contingent. Resistance was met with steel. Threats and shrieks filled the hall as blades flashed and several thorns fell, blood seeping into the marble. The rest, seeing their kin cut down, went pale and fell silent. Alara screamed, You dare slaughter my cousins? Kill those guards and kneel. Apologize to me, or I will never forgive you. I regarded her as if she had asked something absurd. Alara, you really are hopeless. Did you actually think I would let you walk out of here alive? I nodded to the Grandmasters. Finish them, quickly. Do not give them a chance to turn the tables. At once, Your Grace. Just as the Grandmasters moved to obey, a booming voice cut through the chaos. Try it, I dare you. The air thickened with oppressive force, a crackling pressure that made everyone draw breath shallowly. In an instant, a black-robed elder materialized, his presence suffocating the space around him. Asher's face lit up, relief and pride mixing. Master, you came. The man was Alistair, Asher's master and the Martial Temple's vice-master, a half-step from saint-level power. My father, the Northern Duke, had taken most of our household elite and 500,000 soldiers to the northern border to face a demonic invasion. Left in the palace were Grandmasters, formidable but no match for someone nearly a saint. I addressed the old man, cool and cutting. Vice-Master Alistair, is the Martial Temple planning to meddle in the affairs of my house? Alistair's tone tried for conciliatory. Your Grace, my student acted rashly, but is this offense worthy of death? I ask you to be merciful. I laughed, disbelief and scorn sharpening my voice. Mercy? Your student publicly stole my betrothed, shamed my house, and made us a laughingstock, and you suggest mercy? Alistair bowed again. What they did was wrong. I concede that. Lord Thorn promises to punish his daughter. I will also discipline my student and offer you reparations. Will that satisfy you? No, I said flatly. No one humiliates my house and walks away untouched. It does not matter who they are. Alistair's expression hardened, a sliver of killing intent flashing in his eyes. Do this as a favor to me, Your Grace, and I will be indebted to you. In the original story, the Martial Temple helped bring down my family. I would not give him face now. Alistair, who do you think you are? Is the Martial Temple declaring war on the house of the Northern Duke? I asked, testing him. At the moment my house stood at its zenith, backed by 500,000 troops, 2 saint-level powerhouses and the kingdom's sword saint, Lucius, who, though wounded, remained terrifyingly strong. If my father truly rose in anger, neither the temple nor the royal family would act without caution. Alistair, used to deference, had been humiliated. His eyes flickered with menace. So you refuse to grant me this courtesy? That's correct. These 2 must die, I replied. And if I insist on removing them myself, then you may attempt it. I turned to my Grandmasters, cold authority in my voice. You too, hold off Alistair. The rest, kill that pair and their supporters quickly. Yes, Your Grace. Alistair's face went pale, then he roared at Asher and the Thorns. Run. They finally snapped out of shock and fled for the exits. Battle tore the courtyard apart. The 2 Grandmasters launched themselves at Alistair, their blades tracing brilliant arcs of sword energy. Alistair met their assault with his own technique, a blinding weave of power and precision. The impacts were cataclysmic, explosions rocking the air, a gale ripping through the palace grounds and tossing stone and debris like toys. The fighters were hurled back, then hurled forward again, relentless. Though outmatched in raw power, the Grandmasters kept Alistair occupied, their skill buying precious seconds. Meanwhile, the Thorns paid the price for their audacity. Many cut down as guards sealed exits and slaughter spread. Lord Thorn and Alara managed to flee, only because Asher covered their retreat, his body already marked by deep wounds. Cain, battered, faltered repeatedly against Asher's onslaught. With a desperate shove, Asher opened a path through the guards and vanished into the night, bleeding but alive. Notice. Ding. Congratulations, host, for severely wounding the Chosen One. Reward. Ancient God Devil Physique +1. Divine Bow of the Archer God +1. The instant the bow materialized in my hands, energy surged through me, an explosive boost that catapulted me from a level 6 fighter to level 9. I whooped, exhilaration cracking through me. This was like leveling up on a rocket. The power hit me full force, and it felt incredible. Perfect. Time to test this divine bow on Alistair. I channeled every scrap of the new power, knocked an arrow forged from golden light, and drew. The shaft coalesced like mist made solid, its tip glowing like a tiny sun. Behind me, two immense god-devil phantoms rose, looming like guardians. Alistair, having seen Asher slip away, spun and took to the air, heading for the palace gate. Alistair, stop. I bellowed. He glanced back and I loosed the arrow. Thunder cracked, color seemed to momentarily drain from the world, and the golden bolt sliced through the night. It struck with terrifying force. Alistair twisted mid-flight to avoid death, but the arrow shredded his left arm, an explosion of blood and flesh. He screamed, then fell from the sky. By the time the guards reached the spot, he was gone. Only a spreading pool of blood remained. The shot had taken everything from me. My legs trembled, exhaustion pulling me to the edge of collapse. The palace watched in stunned silence. The heir had, in one shot, maimed a near saint, something the grandmasters could not manage. It left the guests frozen, eyes wide with awe. Those who could, slipped away, muttering excuses, as they fled the ruined hall. Half an hour later, a scout returned with news. Asher and the surviving Thorns had fled back to their estate. Good, they had not gone far. They clearly had no respect for my house, so I ordered a tight watch. Cain, Your Grace, ride straight to the northern front, tell my father everything that happened tonight, and request the Sword Saint's aid. By sunset tomorrow, the Thorn family must be wiped out. Yes, Your Grace. Cain spurred off. Strike now, while I had the advantage. The Chosen One could not be allowed to mature. The following evening, tension ruled the Thorn Manor. Lord Thorn paced, worry carved into his face, while Alara tended Asher's wounds with careful hands. What are you so afraid of? She asked, trying to sound calm. Afraid, he snapped. Look at the mess you caused. Breaking off an engagement at the ceremony, shaming us in front of the Duke's house, that was reckless. We could be ruined. Maybe we should flee south and hide. Lord Thorn knew the old Caden would have folded, but this new version frightened him. We were wrong, Alara soothed. It was inconsiderate, but Caden is just angry from being embarrassed. He loved me. He has already killed some of our kin, but he'll calm down. I'll talk to him, flatter him, and he'll be back on his knees, worshipping me. She still saw me as the weak man of the original plot. Lord Thorn exhaled, a little relieved. Go then and see him. Even if you cannot wed him, we cannot afford to lose ducal support. I will make him come here and apologize, Alara sniffed. How dare he slaughter my family? If he does not show sincere remorse, I will never forgive him. Lord Thorn turned to Asher, hopeful. You are a rare talent, young man. Train hard, and do not disappoint us. Asher will become a sword saint, perhaps an immortal. Asher replied, confident. The Thorn name will stand with me when I rise. Suddenly the study door slammed open. A panting servant stumbled in and dropped to his knees. My lord, the Duke's soldiers, they are at the gates, they are killing people. You must come. Blood drained from Lord Thorn's face. Alara's expression went cold. Good, she spat. I haven't even had the pleasure of getting revenge on him, and he dares come to my home? They rushed outside and found ducal guards holding Thorns on their knees, many bloodied. Caden, how could you do this? Release me and compensate my family, or I will make sure Alara never forgives you, shrieked Alara's mother, the woman who had taught her to manipulate the old Caden. Her arrogance evaporated at the sight of my men. And who are you to bark at me? I asked. You bastard Caden. How dare you curse me? I'll tear out your tongue, she screamed, lunging. Before the guards could move, I drew my sword. In a single, precise motion, I sliced through both of her wrists. Her hands flew apart, and she collapsed screaming, Writhing on the ground, all previous bravado drained away. Alara erupted, screaming for her mother, outraged that I had harmed her. Kaden, how could you? You will cut off your own arms as an apology, or never speak to me again. Unbelievable. I thought we were in a life or death moment, and she was still spouting nonsense. Asher, furious, called me out. Kaden, are you even a man? You attack my lady's mother? I challenge you to a duel. Lose and you and your men leave our house this instant. I grinned. Fine. You want a duel? Take on all of us, or we can duel you your pick. Asher blinked, stunned. What? Kaden, you have no shame. I turned to Lord Thorn, cold as stone. One offer, Lord Thorn. Kill Asher now and I spare the rest of your family. Refuse and I kill one of your kin every 10 seconds. Let's see how many you can afford to lose. Pale with terror, Lord Thorn refused. The Thorns began to wail and plead for mercy. Please spare us, my lord. This is Alara's fault, they cried. I smiled, empty-eyed. In the original tale, the Thorn Party had sacked my home and slaughtered without mercy. Not a soul among them innocent. Alara snapped. Kaden, stop, you've gone too far. I'll limit your mother's antics, I said, and with one motion, I cut down 2 nearby thorns. Blood spattered Alara's dress and face. Her scream finally sounded like real fear. Stop, Kaden, we can talk. I can marry you, just don't be rash. Alara begged. Asher, no, he cried, humiliated. Alara hesitated, then capitulated. You win, Kaden. I will marry you. Just take your men and leave. I slapped her again. You think you deserve to cross the gates of my house? She looked at me like a stranger. I addressed Lord Thorn with a menace that needed no words. If you do not act, your whole family dies today. After everything my house has given yours, this is what you have to show? Foolishness has consequences. I nodded to Kane. Time's up, do it. A head rolled across the courtyard with a fresh scream. Alara collapsed to her knees, sobbing at my feet, begging for mercy, promising anything. I kicked her away, disgusted. You are not in a position to bargain. Another head fell 10 seconds later. Screams filled the bloodied courtyard. Lord Thorn snapped. He leapt at Asher with a palm strike, a Grandmaster's lethal technique aimed at his skull. Asher, taken by surprise, should have been finished. Instead, a brilliant golden glow blossomed around Asher, and the strike did nothing. He stood unhurt. Everyone froze, stunned. That had been a full-force Grandmaster attack, something even a near saint would struggle to withstand. I recognized the defense, his ultimate, the Chaos Supreme Bone, a reflexive, invincible shield, powerful but with limits. It could not be used twice in quick succession. In the instant Lord Thorn hesitated, Asher countered. He lunged, blade driving toward Thorn's heart. Thorn twisted, avoiding death, but the sword still tore into him. He was gravely wounded, not dead. He struck back, sending Asher flying, then staggered, coughing blood. Father, Alara wailed, rushing to his side, fury turning to panic. She glared at Asher. How could you do this? Asher, bleeding and on his knees, pleaded. I didn't mean it, Alara, it was instinct. I swear I didn't mean to hurt him. Seeing him like that, Alara's anger softened into conflicted concern. My voice cut through, cold and precise. Kane, continue. 2 more heads fell as I spoke. Do you see, Alara? Your choices killed these people. If your father cannot kill him, then you must. You strike down Asher, and I spare the rest. Is that clear? Alara stared, torn. You cannot? You prefer your whole family dead rather than lose him? Now that is love. I taunted. The Thorns turned on her, rage and fear colliding. None of this would have happened if you had not chased Asher, they cried. Alara faltered, trembling. I never wanted this, she sobbed. Then do it or watch them die, I said. With agonized resolve, and pressured by her father's gasping command, Alara finally drew a sword and took slow, painful steps toward Asher, each one a betrayal to her heart, as the courtyard echoed with blood and curses. Alara's face hardened with determination. She lunged, the Moonlight Saint sword, in her hands almost invisible from the sheer speed, energy roaring like a tidal wave aimed at Asher's heart. Damn you! Asher yelled, scrambling to evade. The blade seared past him, and only then did he realize she was serious. A sharp, cold glint appeared in his eyes. In an instant, he vanished behind her, catching her off guard. She tried to defend, but he slammed a palm into her back. Boom. The impact sent her flying, blood spraying from her mouth before she crashed into the ground, leaving a deep crater. Asher didn't stop. An afterimage lingered in his place as he lunged at me, blade arcing in a downward strike that split the air. I remained still. No flinch, no blink. The two grandmasters at my side moved instantly, kicking Asher from both sides. He was launched like a cannonball, smashing into the courtyard's decorative rock garden. Boom. Rocks shattered in every direction, the courtyard shaking violently. Asher lay amid the rubble, coughing up blood, energy nearly drained. Ding. Congratulations, host, for severely wounding the Chosen One. Reward: Unrestricted Realm Advancement +1, Divine Movement Technique, Void Step +1. As the notification faded, my power surged once more, from level 9 to Grandmaster. The Grandmasters pressed forward, but a black-robed figure suddenly blocked them. Alistair, missing an arm from our last encounter, stood firm. Asher, he croaked, eyes widening. I smirked. Alistair, lucky to survive yesterday. Come to offer your life to me. Caden, your heart is vicious for one so young. Today, I will cripple you, he hissed. Heh, I scoffed. This is between my house and the thorns. The martial temple interferes too often. Aren't you afraid of destroying your own order? He faltered, conflicted. I gave him one last ultimatum. Leave now, and I will forget this. Interfere, and I will burn the martial temple to the ground. Alistair's gaze hardened. Your Grace, it's not the temple seeking enmity. I cannot stand by while you slaughter innocents. Sanctimonious nonsense. I drew the famed northern blade, Tae, from my attendant. Since the martial temple cares so little for my house, I will test your strength. A voice whispered in my mind, Your Grace, you mustn't. Lucius, the hidden sword saint, was watching. My reply was firm. It's fine. The Thorn estate was busy, and word of my impending duel spread. Onlookers gasped. The Duke's heir is fighting Alistair one-on-one? Insane. He's near saint level. Suicide. Such arrogance, he's too young. I ignored them, blade in hand, charging at Alistair to test the limits of my ancient god-devil physique. Asher's grin barely hid a shock. What an idiot. Alistair moved, afterimages blurring his body, energy crackling green. I was faster. Void Step allowed me to become a phantom, movements too swift to follow. Black light clashed with green, turning the battlefield into a storm of shadow and light. The sound was deafening. Alistair's confidence crumbled to shock, disbelief. The crowd stared, dumbstruck. How is he so strong? That's a near saint, yet the heir seems to be winning. Once in a century talent? The heir must be once in a millennium. Asher's fists clenched, fury burning. I'm the protagonist. Ilera, who had been gloating, froze as the truth hit. Her heart turned cold. Boom. Our energies collided, shattering the courtyard. Boulders and debris flew like fireworks. Weaker thorns were caught in the shockwave, torn apart. The crowd froze. Die, old man. I roared. The colossal god-devil phantom appeared behind me, swinging the massive blade. In a divine arc, black energy ripped the air. Alistair struggled, sword raised in desperation. Crack. The blade shattered. He slammed into the ground, forming a massive crater, dust rising in clouds. He lay at the bottom, coughing blood, barely clinging to life. Silence fell over the entire scene. I raised my blade to finish him. Stop. A white-robed elder descended from the sky, the martial temple's master, Saint Fabian. I kept swinging, voice cold. Die, Alistair. Fabian answered with a thunderous sword attack from above, its force warping space as it hurtled toward my back. A strike from a saint would have been fatal. At the last instant, a figure in green robes appeared behind me and casually deflected that world-shattering blow. Squelch. While Alistair stared upward in disbelief, I severed his head with a single stroke. Alistair, cried some. Master, cried others. Holding his head aloft, I looked toward Fabian and announced, When I want someone dead, no one can stop me. The crowd reeled. A near saint, the martial temple's vice-master, had been beheaded by the Duke's heir, right before their eyes. Whispers swelled into a roar. A new powerhouse has risen, an old legend has fallen. The Northern Duke.s heir will be known across the kingdom. Fabian erupted in grief and rage, a killing intent so fierce the ground seemed to tremble, weaker cultivators swaying as if at sea. Before he could strike, Lucius the Sword Saint stepped forward. He drew his blade and, with one elegant arc, his sword energy stretched like a blade across the horizon, cleaving Fabian in two. You dared ambush the heir, Lucius said, cold and final. You deserve to die. Fabian's fall caused less shock, Lucius being a legend who had felled many saints. The martial temple had picked a fight with the wrong house. The Thorn household was crushed, most dead or dying. Lord Thorn and Alara writhed in regret, realizing they had gambled everything for Asher and lost. Alara crawled toward me, pleading, Your Grace, I was wrong, please spare me. I do not want to die, I will be your handmaiden. I will do anything. You humiliated my house, I replied, my voice cold. You must die. She begged, sobbing, but I watched her with an unblinking glare, then drove my blade through her. Cain and the guards finished off the rest. When I finally faced Asher, terror filled his eyes. You cannot kill me. I am the main character. The plot will not allow it. What went wrong? He cried. I did not hesitate. I cut him down in one strike. Ding. Congratulations, host, for killing the chosen one. Reward. Unrestricted Realm Advancement +2. Chaos Demon Blade +1. Chaos Supreme Bone +1. 2 Realm Advancements at once, a Chaos Demon Blade and a Chaos Supreme Bone, and suddenly I stood at saint level. 3 months later, as I inspected the health of a handmaiden in my chambers, Cain burst in, pale with panic. Your Grace, the Duke has been summoned to the capital by royal decree. He is being held captive. What? I slammed my fist on the table, fury burning. That dog of an emperor, how dare he? Cain asked, what do we do now? I looked at him, resolute. We rebel.